Welcome to a game review. Thanks, Sarah. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that again. This is episode 3 of Game Reviews, which is fantastic. Today I am going to be reviewing one of my favourite games, Dragon Age Origins. This is the best game of 2009. You will not find a better value for your money. I mean, when I first played this, I loved it. It was just absolutely amazing. Now, the story is that you're going to be a Grey Warden. That's basically an order of a legendary group, and their goal is to fight and push back creatures called Darkspawn. Now, whenever Darkspawn get called to the surface, they get called to the surface by something called an archdemon. Now, I'm not going to spoil that because it's quite fantastic. However, I will say you'll get this like almost immediately. The Darkspawn are thick, like absolutely thick. Without an archdemon, they can't do squat. And when that happens, it's something called a blight, and the Grey Wardens are the only ones that can stop the blight. Your character is recruited into the Grey Wardens to stop the blight from happening, or if it's already happened, then to stop it where it's at. Now it's called Origins because there are 6 different origin stories, and you can pick from 3 different races. You can choose the human, the elf, or the dwarf. And the origin stories they're all original and they're all fantastic. But they all weld into the plot and the story very well. And whatever origin story you choose, whatever character you choose, certain characters are going to react to you differently, and key parts of the game are going to be modified for it to actually make sense. So you can be a human noble, a city elf, Dalish elf. You can be a dwarf prince or a dwarf commoner, and you can be a mage. It's just fantastic. It's awesome. So I think my favourites would have to be the human noble and the city elf, because they're both fantastic. But basically, I'm going to show you a bit of gameplay about what it's it's not going to be entirely an hour or so. It's probably going to be a couple of minutes. So enjoy. So yes, basically this is my character. I know the quality is rubbish, but there's a reason for that. So basically, you get a choice. As I said, you get a choice of 3 races: an elf, a human, or a dwarf. Now, as you can probably see, I'm an elf. I'll see if I can see that. If you look closely, you can see my ears are pointed. So yes, I am an elf. Plus, right next to Alistair here, who I did mention before, he's a human. You can see the size difference. He's slightly taller than me. And dwarfs are midgets. That's a dwarf. It's a midget. So basically, you go around Orzammar. Well, you don't just go around Orzammar, you go around a bunch of other places and recruit allies. It's awesome. And if you can refrain from laughing, thank you, Sarah. Sarah is holding the camera and she's doing a good job at the moment. But yeah, this is the camp. You can see like a little flame over there. That's Morrigan. She is separate from everyone else, considering no one, especially Alistair here, they don't like each other. Everyone else, however, is in pretty close quarters. You can pick up characters along the way. As you can see, there's Shale over there. I'm not sure if you can see him, but there's Shale. He is a character which you can get through downloadable content called the Stone Prisoner. Yeah, that's basically like the gameplay. That's basically like the layout of the game. The environments are pretty nice, but I'd say the graphics are a bit outdated, but give it a pass because the plot is just fantastic, and the whole theme of the characters is just brilliant. Now there's going to be a lot of fighting, so yeah, if you're into that, good for you. Now there were several drawbacks, like, well, for one, your character does not speak. The main character does not speak. The other characters do, but all you get is a selection of options. Now, I liked it, but I would have preferred my character speak, like in Dragon Age 2. Which is just, yeah, I mean, it's like for games, they didn't have a bar on this one, whereas for Dragon Age 2 they had one. For Mass Effect they had one. I've never played Mass Effect, but I have heard about it, and I've seen some gameplay, and it looks just like a futuristic version of this game. So yeah, as the name suggests, this is really funny. It is the Dragon Age, basically. Yes, and yes, there are dragons in this game. Brilliant. Basically, the way they do this is fun. The way they do this, because you basically have to build an army and stop the Darkspawn. How you do so is up to you. I mean, there's different options for everything. Now, there's several companions that you probably won't like. I mean, for instance, I don't like Oghren. He's a dwarf, he's a drunk. I don't like him at all. He's pathetic in battle, and I mean pathetic. I mean, one scene, we're in the Deep Roads, which is like underground tunnels where the Darkspawn are. There's a whole bunch of them, and I carefully take one or two out at the same time and go for it. Oghren just runs in there like a drunk ass and just swings his axe around, and he's normally the one to die first. Now, if a character on your party dies, don't worry about it, because they come back after the battle is finished. However, they get an injury. You can easily cure it with an injury kit. Now, there's several things to do. There's not just the main quest. There's some brilliant side quests, and you can collect characters along the way. It's not just like you talk to them, they'll join you. You have to do something for them, or you have to just something else. Leveling up is actually fairly decently done. You get 3 skill points to spend on a bunch of things. Now, if I had to pick a least favourite origin, I'd have to say the mage, because even though the origin story is quite interesting, throughout the rest of the game, it's just not worth it. So yeah, basically, it was quite hard for me to put this game down, because as I said at the beginning, it's one of my favourite games. And yeah, I cannot wait for Dragon Age Inquisition. I cannot wait for that game, because I know it's just going to be brilliant. So yeah, there's dragons in the game. There's magic. Don't worry about that. There's plenty of magic. And for you perverts out there, yes, you can have sex in the game. So don't worry about it. Personally, that was not one of those things in the game. I didn't even know there was sex in it. To be honest, I would have been fine without it. I thought it was rated 18 because of all the blood and gore and stuff. I mean, come on. So yeah, you can go into a romance option with one of your party members. If you piss them off, they will eventually leave. But to get their approval, like if you're struggling, you can find gifts for them. Now, you'll know they're gifts because they have the word gifts under it in pink. Who it goes to, however, you're probably going to have to find that out for yourself. But all in all, the plot is very well done. The graphics aren't too bad. and yeah, especially on the characters, they're actually very well done. Environment, meh. Characters, pretty fairly well done. So yeah, all in all, this game is fantastic. I would give it a great 9 out of 10. Now, I actually got Sarah into Dragon Age, by the way, and it wasn't just the Xbox I got her into. I got into Dragon Age as well. So yeah, and she bought her own copy of Dragon Age Origins. You are welcome, BioWare, by the way. You are welcome. I got you some more money. You greedy fucks! Nah, I'm just kidding. But please don't mess up Dragon Age Inquisition. Please don't. So yes, that is my rating for Dragon Age Origins. What do you guys think of the game? Is it good? Is it bad? You know, what do you think? Or am I being crazy and you give it a perfect rating? I mean, the game's not perfect, but it's still pretty good. So yeah, I shall see you guys on the next game review.